Please. My wife is pregnant, you understand? She's expecting a baby. Our baby. Go away. Go away. Go away.
Hello, hello. This is the Doom Show. Richard, Brad, Jeffrey, Naffa. It's the Doom Show. Hello, hello. This is the Doom Show. Slashers, giallo, and horror. It's the Doom Show. The cuckoo clock interrupts the show. Doomed Moviethon. Death of the old salesman. Sweaty Cameron Mitchell. Hello, hello. This is the Doom Show. Richard, Brad, Jeffrey, Naffa. It's the Doom Show. It's the Doomed Show. Doomed Show.
I'll do a hidden shout out to Simon on this episode. You see if you can hear it. You'll have to listen real careful for it.
I will.
All right. Hello, Simon, and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show. I'm Richard.
I caught it.
It was a subtle shout out. Shush.
It was very, very subtle. I'm Brad.
Welcome to our show. We are talking about our favorite Victoria's Secret catalog. We're talking 1991. Brad, what page are you on, and what's left of it?
Very little, and I'm on page 17.
Yes. That's the pervy page. You're sick. That's got
Oh.
ladies. I like Victor's Secret. It's just his butt.
It's just his butt.
Okay, folks, we are not here to talk about Victor's butt. We are here to talk about Joe D'Amato's butt.
Are we?
Yes. I'm going to mess up the title right off the bat. Anthropophagus, the Grim Reaper, Anthropophagus, whichever, it doesn't matter. 1980, the Grim Reaper movie. That's the one.
And I've called it Anthropophagus for so long that I can't call it anything else. Well, it's incorrect, I know, but...
It's like another Langu. Idge.
It is.
Folks,
Idge.
I am fired up, dude. This is going to be amazing.
It's great.
We're freaking out. We're vibing out.
No doubt.
Man, I just want to get started because this is exciting. We are going to talk about this movie, and then we're going to have a special George Eastman tribute section to this episode. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because his birthday was 11 days ago when we recorded this, so there's a reason to celebrate.
I celebrated. I always celebrate every year George Eastman Luigi Montefiore Day.
Yes, Luigi Montefiore. He's actually listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the tallest Italian ever born.
He is. And he's also the prettiest Italian that was ever born.
Especially in this movie. God.
Mm-hmm. He's a looker.
I know. Lietta was sketching his outfit and his makeup to dress me up like that. Not for Halloween, just every day. My everyday look.
Right.
Boom.
Thursdays. I'd like to see that, actually.
I think I may do that for a Halloween one year. I can do that shit.
You should.
I'll
Eat
dress
a baby.
as him in Absurd, the sequel to this, and I'll just like smile and grimace a lot.
Everyone will know who you are.
Yes. You're that famous guy from that movie. No,
You're the most beautiful Italian man ever born.
I know. Back the fuck up.
That's right.
Stay behind the rope, idiot.
Security.
I put the anus in famous.
No doubt.
Famous. Anyway.
The famous.
I'm going to play a little bit of the music from the trailer because, of course, this movie doesn't have an awesome trailer. This, I feel like, is a missed opportunity. Like, this could have been the Grindhouse trailer of the century. Like,
in a world where people eat their own intestines, bobbity-boo.
Beebity-bop.
I didn't sell that too well. But I'm going to play some of the music from the amazing trailer, and then we'll talk about this plot. All right, I'm going to read the back to you from the Shriek Show DVD. I have not seen the 88 Films Blu-ray. Is that who put it out?
I believe so.
I've not seen that.
Nor have I.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that this Shriek Show edition, the 2-discer, is the best version of this movie that I've seen.
Right, me too.
And I think I complained about this to somebody on Facebook. The audio's a little grubby. The English audio is kind of muffled. Not too bad, but there is an Italian with English subtitles option. I did not watch that one, though. I was going to watch that. Oddly enough, I watched the Grim Reaper cut on YouTube today with the awful horror music slapped on top of it. The inappropriately library-esque sounding music.
How was it?
It was fun, but it was awful. Like, it pretty much ruined the whole movie. Like, it was really distracting.
You sent me the link, and I watched the opening titles with the cop music, and I thought, wow, what a way to set the table incorrectly.
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Like, every little moment in the movie that's even remotely scary has like this like horror strings from 1958 on it. It's really bad. Really, really bad.
Wow.
So, anyway, definitely if you can find the Shriek Show double disc, go for it. If you have the 88 Films version, write into the show, doomedmoviethon@gmail. Let us know if we should get it, because I'm always curious.
I will say that is also the version that I have, is the Shriek Show double discer.
Mine has a special edition to it. Want to know what it is?
What is it?
Stuffed into the case is Emmanuel's Revenge, which is also George Eastman and Joe D'Amato. Mm-hmm. The reason that's in there is because it's a bootleg. I don't have any other home for it, so it's in a little sleeve in there. So I'm always thinking about watching that one. I think we'd have fun covering that one. It's almost like if Joe D'Amato directed a script by Jess Franco.
Fun fact, you sent me that, and I saw roughly half of it before my Blu-ray player quit working at the time. So I've seen half of it, remember very little other than the beautifully tall, beautiful man that was in it.
He stars in all my sex dreams.
Of course.
Which is funny, because, what was it, Porno Holocaust? Jeffrey name-dropped that one in the Letizia episode.
I don't want to see that.
I have seen it. Don't watch it.
Yeah, don't worry.
Woo! It's,
not my style.
It's big on the porno, little on the Holocaust.
Well,
why would that
there's
surprise?
Truth in advertising.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna read the back of the DVD. I got distracted. Okay. A deserted beach. A blood-curdling scream. A decapitated head. A group of tourists take a boat ride to a deserted island. Once there, they discover that most of the residents have disappeared and soon find themselves being stalked by a malevolent presence. They try to uncover the mystery, but nothing could possibly prepare them for what they would eventually find. One of the most notorious, most debated, most banned films of the video nasty era, Anthropophagus, has never been available in the U.S. with all of its gruesome scenes intact until now. From legendary USA King Joe D'Amato, Manual of the Last Candles, Beyond Darkness, Anthropophagus boasts a memorably disturbing performance by co-writer George Eastman. The New Barbarians, Heroic Knights of the Living Dead. See for yourself what all the fuss is about. Have you got the guts? ?
Nicely done.
Thank you. I think I should have just read the first paragraph, because it wasn't like trying to sell me anything, man. Why is everyone selling something, man?
It's that kind of world we live in.
I know, exactly. This is the world of the future. Kill the children by eating them out of the womb. I sang that for you. Right there, improv.
I'm glad you did.
They do possess the beauty inside. You just have to bite through their flesh to get to it.
Well,
anyway, we can talk about eating children at the end of the movie. We get some nice Greekness. This is like the most Greek movie that ever Greek to Greek, next to all those other Greek films.
It's pretty Greeky.
Yeah, this was filmed in Greece and Italy. A lot of the beautiful white painted buildings and the really strange, narrow streets, those are all in Greece. And then the castles and surrounding, almost forest are definitely Italy. But we're following a young couple who I think are supposed to be a pair of German tourists.
I think so.
They're speaking something. I don't know if it's German or Greek or frickin'...
It's not subtitled.
No.
Either.
No. Which means we don't need to know what they're saying other than,
no.
Let's make sexy at the beach. I'll keep my pants on.
Yeah.
But, they don't even get to the sex. That's what I thought was funny. They go to the beach, and she strips down to her bikini and goes swimming. He just takes off his shirt and lays out in the sun listening to headphones.
Archer headphones.
They're huge headphones. Like,
big headphones.
He stole them from a frickin' runway or a tarmac or something.
Are they not Radio Shack? Weren't Archer Electronics, weren't they Radio Shack? Yeah, they were.
You would know.
That's true. I did work there. No, Archer is a private label Radio Shack product.
Ooh. I did not remember that.
So I worked there, so...
We didn't have the headphones at Walden Books.
No, sadly.
The music...
But that's my connection.
The music in this movie is done by one... Is it Marcello? Yeah, Marcello Giambini did the music. And the opening music is really strange. It's like this weird carnival-y stuff.
It is.
It's supposed to be just the happy sounds of Greece. So the girl goes swimming, and she gets totally jazzed. Something is under the water in our very dreamlike scene, watching her swim. Probably some kind of pervert, or shark, or cannibal.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets killed. We don't see what happens to her other than she reaches a boat. That she swims out to a boat, and there's some blood splattered on it. She sees something, and then she falls back in the water, and we see a bunch of blood, and she's dead. Something very eerily approaches the beach, and one of my favorite shots in this movie, right out of the freaking gate, because whatever killed her is now coming for her man friend on the beach. Did you like that shot, dude? I thought that shit was fucking incredible.
No, I do. Very much so.
It instantly establishes the mood of this movie. It's so good.
It does.
The unrelenting killing machine is coming. And thankfully, it's not a Jaws ripoff.
No.
Let's see. Their dog is amazing. They have an old dog who's like watching all this crap happen to them. And he's got like a really emotional face. It's just really great dog acting.
I thought for a minute the dog was in on it.
Dude, are you kidding? Like, he doesn't get killed, so he's got something. They're paying him off in fetuses.
Possibly.
That's what dogs want.
That is the currency. Mm-hmm.
When a dog sniffs your crotch, he's like, nope, no fetus here, gotta go.
No thanks, I'm out of here.
The guy who's listening to his headphones, he gets a freaking huge meat cleaver to the head. And it's hilarious. I mean, I like it, the effect, but man, it's just funny.
Yeah, because, like, all he had to do was open his eyes and probably could avoid it.
Duck to the left a little.
Something.
Evasive maneuver number foreign. Because he's a foreigner.
Exactly.
But
the opening really sets the stage.
It does.
I think, very well. Because for what we're about to see, this gives you a little bit of what you want, and then it lets you settle in and meet the characters. And I think that was pretty smart on D'Amato's part.
Totally. I call them the Fun Time Gang.
Ooh, nice.
AKA, I hope nothing happens to that baby in her belly. We got Julie, played by Tisa Farrow, who we saw in Zombie by Lucio Fulci. We got Andy, who's Saverio Valone. We got Serena Grandi, who plays Maggie. Maggie is the pregnant one. She is not looking very grandy in this movie.
I've got to tell you, I've seen this movie several times, and it was not until that I looked at IMDb, and maybe we've even had this discussion before privately, I don't know.
I think we have.
I always forget that. I forget that she's even in it. It doesn't look like her at all.
No. Serena Grandi was in Delirium, photos of Gioia, and she is the star of that movie. And I mean breasts, giant boobies. She's really, really, what's the word? She's really glamorous in that movie. Like, of course, it's 1987 or so it's ridiculous glamour, but she is definitely totally different here. Totally different. Very mousy.
No doubt.
Kind of cute, but very mousy here. And
she's very girl next door.
Yeah, I think this was her first movie? Yeah, second movie. So, first character with a name that she played.
Right.
We got Rita, who's played by Margaret Mazzantini, who's an actress.
Right.
Haven't seen a lot of her, although she's really cute. We will see her later. She's not, technically she's not part of the Fun Time Gang until later in the movie, but they'll pick her up. Some of the characters kind of bleed together for me, like the dudes. The dudes are kind of boring as shit in this.
Yeah, I don't care anything about the dudes.
Yeah, I mean, other than George Eastman, of course.
Right.
Zora Kurova. Oh boy, I love this actress.
And I've said this all along, but her and Tisa look exactly alike.
Really?
I think so, yes.
Oh, I think Tisa Farrow has more of a Tisa Farrow kind of a quality.
Right. I can't deny that.
I defend Tisa Farrow from here until the cows come home. But she is...
No, I like her very much.
Oh, I know you do. I'm just saying, like, in general, like, I feel like she is totally underappreciated in the world of Italian horror. She is so odd and so interesting to me. Other people interpret her as bland or whatever, and I'm like, God, she has a screen presence that you can't quite put your finger on. I like her better than Mia Farrow.
I think it's so funny because to me, her and Zora in this film look so much alike.
But they have different outfits.
Different outfits. When the dude gets rid of Zora for Tisa, and I'm like, wow, her personality must really suck because they look exactly alike to me.
Zora Kurova is Carol, if I haven't mentioned already. She is seriously the doomsayer of the bunch.
She definitely is.
She's into the tarot cards, even though, as Lietta pointed out to me, she's reading them wrong. But hey, whatever. We won't judge her too much. She almost from the get-go is just like, we're all gonna die, or something horrible's coming.
It's one of my favorite parts of this film is that when she tells the fortune.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's just dropping the cards a couple at a time into the ocean and they're drifting. And it's like the die is cast at that point. You're still very early in the movie, but they're all doomed.
Yeah,
all of them.
They're all headed out to these Greek islands, and they meet Tisa Farrow, Julie, by chance, and they end up hanging out, drinking Coke. The Maggie's puking over the side, and then Carol's reading the fortune with the tarot cards, and it's all bad according to her. It's all terrible. So she lies, and then later she's just totally, yeah, like you said, like the die is cast. Like she's completely given up, and is just convinced that there is no future, that nothing's going to happen because they're all going to be dead. I love it.
Well, when folks would attack this film or try to point something out, I would always point to that as being, it's so amazing, the shot of her sitting there on the edge of the boat while they're actually moving, and she's just spilling the cards into the ocean because she doesn't need them anymore.
No.
She'll never need them again. And to me, it's and I hate to use such a melodramatic or soap opera term, but it's such a powerful moment of the dread that is omnipresent in this film.
Yeah, it's very heavy. It's very it's laid on thick, and it never lets up at all. There's some funny dialogue where there's a love triangle, of course, between Julie and one of the dudes and Carol, and Carol has been in love with one of the dudes, and ends up also being pissed off that Julie is now the center of attention. There's a nice moment where someone says that she's a genuine lunatic. I really like that part.
Yeah. They're like, blah, blah, blah. I'm a little worried about Carol. Oh, don't worry about her. She's fucking crazy and always has been.
We're just friends. Also, she's a psycho. So
it's just so matter of fact.
Exactly. Julie needs to get to the island because the family that she works for, she's a photographer, but on the side, she is also kind of a nanny for this family.
Mm-hmm.
She takes care of Rita, and she's blind, which we'll find out in a bit. And so she's headed out to the island to check on her because she hasn't heard from her parents in a while. She can't get a hold of anybody in the city. So they finally land, and they get to this port, and it's completely deserted. Maggie, who's been seasick the whole time, is going to stay on the boat with the Greek captain of the boat. His head is actually made of cake. Did you notice that?
I did.
When they find it in the bucket, it looks like a fucking... is it Baskin-Robbins that makes the cakes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ice cream cake?
Yeah. It does not look good. I think it might be the worst gore effect in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You know, hey, they spent the money on all the other gore effects. They had to cut some... Can I not talk tonight? Ugh. What's the word I'm looking for? Fuck. I have no idea. I keep wanting to say cut some slack. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. They spent all their money on things that look good, and then the captain's head looks like shit. That's the best I can do in the talking. Fuck. I was so eloquent with the cake head.
What does it matter about the head?
I
really?
don't know. I just want
all the others.
It's like episode 850, dude. I want to sound like I'm getting better.
Outtakes.
Edit, cut.
You know what? I just leave them all in now, so I don't have to do the outtakes bit anymore. The whole show's an outtake. Damn it! They're searching the island, and they find nothing but empty streets. Eventually, they start being spied upon by this weird woman who is my favorite character in the movie because she's amazing. And there's bodies everywhere. Everywhere there's bodies. Mm-hmm. Bodies. It's so creepy. It's so well done, man.
It is. The bodies they all look like the monk from Werewolf Shadow. They're all weird looking.
That's very good.
They don't look like just decaying bodies. They all look malformed, disfigured.
They're smaller. They're all withered and bizarre, and they're all like monks. Exactly.
Night comes. They're in the house. Tisa and one of the dudes go downstairs to investigate, and you have what may be the most iconic moment of the film.
Exactly. A kitten falls on the keyboard. Most iconic moment.
Exactly.
No, I just want to talk about that cat scare real quick. Sorry to interrupt. I love cat scares.
No.
And this is probably my favorite cat scare in a long time because it's the most adorable kitten they just threw at a piano. It's so fucking awesome.
Exactly.
Gently thrown. Not like a baseball player threw it, but like gently tossed. How's that?
Here, kitty.
I tell you what, too, the moment is so odd that you, even as a seasoned horror film watcher, you focus on the fact that they're in this basement, there's a piano, and somebody just drops a kitten on the piano and it runs across that you never see what's coming next. Or at least I don't.
No, exactly. Which is, what happens next, Brad? What did I have to interrupt you for? For the kitten. Let's hear it.
No, this is all you, Richard.
Oh, thank you.
It's all you.
Out of fucking nowhere, a woman covered in blood and wine? Or is she just covered in blood? Because I thought she was coming out of a wine barrel.
I think it's wine.
Okay. It's very, I hate to say this, sexy and perfect. It's like the most perfect thing that could happen in this movie. This girl bursts out of the frickin' wine barrel dripping from head to toe with very blood-like wine, and she's got a big old butcher knife, and the soundtrack explodes, and they're screaming, and she's slashing at the dude. She cuts his shoulder, he falls down, and it's just, her breasts look really amazing as they're bouncing in her frickin' soaked dress, and
it goes into slow motion, and they show it twice.
yes.
To me, and I could be wrong, but when she burst out of the vat, the 2 times they show it, and I could totally be wrong, but her eyes remind me of a certain part of Suspiria. It looks like they're not really her eyes. It looks like they're pasted over her, perhaps shut eyes.
Yeah, maybe she needed to do that.
It is a very effective moment because you're still pondering, why is this kitten downstairs? Of course it's on the piano. And all of a sudden, in slow motion, this woman bursts out of the top of a wine vat. And it's so shocking because you're thinking about the cat that you don't even think, how is she hiding in this vat of wine or blood or whatever it is? Because it's obviously full.
Yeah.
And why is she in it?
Yeah.
And how is she breathing?
Right.
And it's amazing. It's an amazing moment.
What I like is on the back of the DVD case, there's what is probably a still from the production, because the picture of her on the back, she's not dripping. It looks like she's a little bit drier than when we see her. Mm-hmm. So it looks like they just said, okay, well, let's get a quick production still. And aside from her hairy armpit, which is stained red from the wine, which is amazing, it gives you this weird look to it. And her eyes look really fake there too. Mm-hmm. It might have been touched up later or something. I'll look at that scene again and see what you're saying about the eyes. But I
could be wrong, but it just seems like her eyes are wrong. When they confront her, her eyes look fine. But to me, it looks like maybe she's got some sort of appliances on. Now, I could be wrong, but that's just the way it looks to me.
Right. I have this tattooed on my body, by the way.
Tell us more.
Well, it started off as pretty funny. I had never seen Anthropophagus by the time I'd had this tattooed on me. Leota just looked at me weird. Like, I don't know this f***ing story. I had the Anchor Bay version of Macabre from Lamberto Bava, a.k.a. Lambava, as we call him around here. And it had this artwork of this woman standing, slashing. It just said Macabre and had the tagline for it there. And I could not stop staring at that poster image like it was the most fascinating shit I'd ever seen from the world of Italian horror. And that artwork had been appropriated for other movies it didn't belong to. So I'd actually seen it in other places online before. But I didn't know that it was from Anthropophagus until I'd had the tattoo for a while, and then I saw the movie and she burst out of the vat and was holding a knife. And I'm like, oh my god, that's where it's from. Oh shit. Like, so
I'm sure that was amazing.
That was the weirdest thing ever. Like, I was a bigger fan of this movie than I had any idea. So research your tattoos, people, before you get them.
Exactly. I knew the story. You've told me that story several times. I love to hear it because it's just so amazing that Italian film genre is known for ripping off popular American films.
Yep.
And then they just go about ripping each other off.
Oh yeah, there's so much uncredited poster artwork in the Italian sphere. It's not too hard to imagine that some poor artist never got a dime for doing that.
Well, you've got to figure that someone at Anchor Bay said, this is from Anthropophagus. This is not in Macabre.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, who cares? Rita, she's very important to the plot because she, although she's blind, can sense our evil nemesis, who we haven't really talked about yet because he hasn't actually shown his face in the movie yet.
I can smell him. The second he comes. I'm the only one who knows when he's coming. And I'm never wrong. I know by the smell.
Who is he? How do you know that, Rita?
Blood. He smells of blood. Blood.
The scene that follows, where they take her upstairs, get her dried off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She tells them that there's someone there that's, killing people. it sets up this brilliant stalking scene where they're going through the house, and this is yet another moment where, armed with only people and candles and one flashlight, D'Amato really sets the scene with just this heavy, ominous dread and suspense.
Yeah. The house has no power, so of course, like you're saying, it's all candles. And then people are getting separated, and Carol is being a bitch because she's so in love with Danny. Thank you, notes. My notes finally identify who she was in love with. She leaves. Julie goes looking for her, and then Carol locks her in the frickin' cemetery nearby.
Crazy.
Dude, there's so much atmosphere here.
Lightning.
Oh, there's lightning. Of course it's a dark and stormy night. It's great. And of course we get our monster finally. It is Nikos Karamanlis, and that's the Anthropophagus. He's finally showed up.
In a flash of lightning, correct?
Exactly.
When we first see him?
Man, this is some unsettling and yet very simple makeup. George Eastman is, what is he? 7 feet tall?
He's very tall. 6 foot.
I think
something.
6'9". So 6
6'9".
foot 9 inches tall. In 1979 or 1980, when the average male height was 4'1". So you got to think. What?
2.5 feet on everybody.
Maybe not.
Monstrous.
Maybe not 4'1". But he is so imposing, dude. He's like, it's got the bald thing going on with the scabs and the scales. His teeth have these huge gaps in between them. And he's just this wild stare, this inhuman stare. It's like, whew.
Yeah.
His clothes
very
don't
imposing.
fit. It's gaunt. Ooh. And of course, since he's, a cannibal, he has to bite out people's throats, which we love. Everyone flees the house, and they end up going to a mansion. Do you remember why they went to the mansion? I don't remember. Or are they just looking for other people? I can't remember.
Looking for other people, and I think they'd seen the woman in there.
That's right. The mysterious woman we keep seeing. Let's see if we can... Now, was she his sister? The sister, or... She wasn't the wife, because we'll find out what happened to the wife in the backstory. She was either the sister of the woman who's killed, or she's the Anthropophagus' sister. For some reason, she's been...
I want to be honest with you, I'm not sure.
Okay, I only know just because they show some photos of him and his wife and his kid, and there's another picture with her.
Right.
Yeah, and then they follow her to the mansion, and the reason she's my favorite character is because she never says a word. She just looks mysterious, looks scared and concerned, and when they finally arrive to the house, she comes in and she says, "Oh my God, you're in danger. Here's some guns. Here's some knives. We need to lock this house down. I got some fucking Doberman pinchers. And here's a blueprint of the house and how best to defend it in case of a cannibal attack." Oh, no, wait. What does she do?
Hangs herself.
She hangs herself. She waits. She waits until they're there to do it.
And it's, again, it's pretty stylishly shot.
Yep.
And once again, this house, you're just as in the dark as these people are.
Yeah.
You don't know who she is. You don't know why she's killed herself. You don't know where all the people have gone. You just assume that the Anthropophagus has killed them all.
Yep.
But you don't know why. You don't know who he is. And actually, the hanging is done with some style.
Totally.
It's pretty shocking.
I did not see it coming. I had no idea, and it surprised. It scared me the first time. I love it.
I would have loved for that part to have been played by Veronica Lazar. I think that would have been perfect.
Oh, shit. Good call. That would have been awesome. Veronica Lazar, star of... oh my God, help me out here. Is it Zombie 2?
The Beyond.
That's right, The Beyond. She wasn't in Zombie 2, was she?
No, in Inferno. She's in Inferno.
Man, I'm really off my game tonight.
First of all, let me just go ahead and say this now. This film has got plot to it, obviously, but the plot is pretty unimportant.
Yeah. It's all tone and mood.
I'll be honest. It's a lot of tone and mood. And I'm really excited to get to the part where I explain how I came about this film.
No shit. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Down below the house, there's a crypt. And the dude who's married to Maggie, he is still looking for her. She's been missing this whole time, in case we haven't mentioned that. I think we may have skipped that part. She's been just...
Well, that's a good scene, too, because they're looking for her, and up above them, you just see her feet and and I don't think you can even see her. I don't think you see her head, but someone drags her. They're up above them.
Yeah.
And it's yet another stylish move and really adds to the sense of danger because they're right there, but they don't see her.
And you have no idea what is happening. It's so good. Down in the crypt, there's nothing but skeletons and fake bats, rats, corpses. This whole thing is done fisheye lens. A lot of the stuff in the mansion has been fisheye lens. There's been all kinds of crazy style laid to all this really simple stuff. And now we got this great set piece of the tombs and everything. It's really beautiful. Very, very eerie and everything. We finally get a flashback to explain who this monster is. Julie is in the house, in the mansion, and she notices that there's a hidden door behind a big dresser with a huge mirror in front of it. And this is such a fine, fine moment in the movie. She throws a candelabra at the mirror and shatters, and man, it is gorgeous. It is,
yes.
It's like a freaking standout scene because the whole thing shatters, but then a piece of it is left standing, and she's reflected in that scene. They had it set up so great.
Perfectly. Perfectly.
Man. It's so good. So she goes in and finds photos and a burned up diary, and she figures out, because she can read the language. She can read Greek.
Right.
And we find out that George Eastman, Nikos, was stranded at sea with his wife and child. He had to kill them and eat them to survive.
Not a very good father or husband, really.
Well, don't get in a raft. Ever.
No, never.
Let's put more...
With a 6'9" tall, hungry man.
Let's put a moratorium on rafts, everybody.
Yes, please.
This whole scene is set up so well. Somehow, D'Amato's really good at these kinds of, desperate human beings doing horrible things in his movies and extreme emotions and stuff like that. And it's just a sad scene. It doesn't exactly explain why eating his wife and child gave him the power to kill an entire town, but c'est la vie. Or as the Italians say it, la vie. I don't know what they say. Maybe they say c'est la vie. I don't know.
Maybe they do.
I have in quotations that scene, Brad. Quotation marks, that scene. The scene that got this movie in so much trouble.
Right.
As the dude who's married to Maggie finds Maggie, we'll call him Maggie's husband.
Let's do that.
When Maggie's husband finally finds her, she's been knocked out or something, and she's down in the crypt, and he's taken her down, and of course they get attacked by the Nikos, and they can't reason with them because you cannot reason with Nikos. Dude gets stabbed and is totally useless. He gets to watch as George Eastman rips his wife's fetus out and eats it, killing her and his unborn child. And this is why this movie has been banned. Excuse me. This is why the movie was...
Everywhere.
Yeah, it was banned. You know it! This is why the movie was banned in England on the Video Nasties list, because of this very scene right here. This was cut from the Grim Reaper moment. The Grim Reaper moment? The Grim Reaper cut of this movie.
I bet.
And it's disturbing as shit.
Very much so.
It is not a real baby. It is a skinned rabbit. Mm-hmm. So you know it tasted awesome.
Gamey, a little gamey.
Yum. I'm sure George Eastman ate the whole thing off camera because he was embarrassed how hungry he was.
Probably. He's 6'9".
Yeah. We get the death of Carol, which I thought was very sad. Carol is killed off camera. She just shows up with her throat slit. It's very sad because it's Carol. She's been a bump on a log the whole movie, providing us with nothing but the best gloom and doom, so I miss her. The monster is chasing Rita and Julie through the house, and I think one of the dudes is still alive? Yeah, one of the dudes is still alive. And they go up in the attic where they lock themselves in, and they're totally safe, except for the roof. Now...
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things you don't do in a horror movie, but...
Don't stand up.
Anyway.
Dude, I was really surprised by this the first time. This moment really shocked me with... They're standing there, and you expect the door to burst open or something. You don't expect the killer to come through the roof. He bursts through the roof, grabs Rita, doesn't make a big enough hole for her to actually be pulled through, but doesn't stop him. He pulls her head through. He's scraping her face on the jagged tiles on the roof. He bites her throat out. It's horrible. Julie manages to get him with the trusty pickaxe in the arm, which makes him fall off the roof. But Rita is just left hanging there. It's so creepy. I almost said Lucio Fulci for a second there. Joe D'Amato would reuse this moment in Killing Birds.
Really?
Yep, spoiler alert.
Nice.
He totally was like, oh man, that's my best shit ever. I better do it again. Julie goes down to, check on the killer to make sure he's okay. I'm not sure what she's doing. But he has fallen off the roof and down a well.
Right.
And of course, he's very much alive and climbing up to come and kill her. Mm-hmm. Does he throw a rope around her, or how does she get the rope? I just remember him pulling on a rope, like she's tied to it right now. I forget.
I think, as we all know, uncovered wells are very dangerous.
Yes.
I'm sure you remember Baby Jessica that captivated the hearts and minds of the entire country back in the mid-'80s.
Brad, I don't mean to correct you. I'm sorry, but she fell down a squat hole.
Oh, what?
A squat hole. What
is a squat hole?
I don't know. It's a Nafa joke. I'm going to make sure he listens to this episode. I'm sorry. Baby Jessica, you were saying?
She falls down in the well. I'll be honest with you. I watched this a few days ago. I don't remember how she fell in the well.
Because
everybody listening is now like, you guys are...
You guys suck.
Sometimes I imagine Jeffrey listens, and maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But sometimes I imagine Jeffrey listens and it's like, wow, Brad, you really prepared. You couldn't even write down how she fell in this well. And I was going to try to cover it up with the talk of Baby Jessica, but then you talked about a squat hole, and I don't get it.
Well, you're lucky. You're very lucky, because my mom gets report cards from Jeffrey every episode that I do without him. So I'm all F's. I'm NE, needs improvement.
She ends up in the well with him with a rope around her arm. She gets out of the well. She's still tied to the rope somehow. He climbs up after her. She manages to get the rope off. What happens?
Out of nowhere, the dude who's still alive, who is named something, he stabs good old Nikos in the guts.
Right.
And slashes his stomach
with
open.
A pickaxe.
Oh yeah, the
pickaxe?
That's right. This random pickaxe has been following these people around for a while. But he doesn't let that slow him down. He is so hungry that as his intestines start flying out of his stomach at a very disturbing rate, he totally eats his own guts and dies.
credits.
That's the other reason this movie was banned. It's disgusting.
It also offers him a moment of pathos, oddly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, he's like, I can't help it. You know, I'll eat guts wherever I find them, including my own. This is what I've been reduced to.
Nice. Good call. Good call.
I mean, that's the way I see it.
This movie's over, and you just feel like, what the fuck just happened to me?
Yeah.
I mean, I know there are people that love this movie, and there are people that fucking hate this movie, that think it's boring or whatever, but I can't imagine not being affected by this film when it ends.
One way or the other.
Exactly. Brad, I need to know, how did you get to see this film?
Okay. I was vaguely aware of this film and had been for quite some time. I remember at my local Best Buy, back when they had horror movies, and I know to some of our younger listeners, this may seem shocking, but there was a point in time where Best Buy carried horror films. Anyway, I remember seeing it, and it was I'm pretty sure it was the one that I ended up buying anyway, the 2-disc Streak Show. But I remember thinking, I don't care anything about watching this. I just don't. Well, you know, I'd gotten into Italian horror films in a big way. You and I were friends. We were talking. This was a good ways back. You know how when you get into something, you start out with probably some of the better known things, some of the things that most people are very positive on, and then as you're doing your thing, if you're like me, obsessive and crazy, you work your way through everything.
Right.
So at some point, I asked you, what about Anthropophagus? And should I see that? And you were like, yeah, you should see that. The reputation that I knew it by was that it was a couple of gore scenes, and that was it. So, upon your recommendation, I bought it from Amazon. It got here, and I've dug out our older notebook. We, as you know, write down every film that we watch, and we give it a rating. And you typically have a rough idea of the date. For Elizabeth and mine, third wedding anniversary, we watched Anthropophagus, and we gave it a 5 with an exclamation point, which is our highest rating. Both of us loved it. This film is so much more than just its gore pieces. It's got a plot. As I said earlier, perhaps in somewhat of my unpreparedness, the plot is not that important. It is a tonal film. It has a sense of dread over it that I think puts it in a league. It's not the same vibe at all. But you know how Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a vibe that no one was able to recreate. Anthropophagus, to me, has a vibe that no one has been able to recreate, not even Joe D'Amato. It reminds me in a way of Damned in Venice, which also is a film that to me has a vibe that is unrecreatable, that no one ever did. The dread is palpable throughout the entire film. It's a well-made film. Yeah, there's some, funny dubbing. To me, it encapsulates all that is good about Italian horror in 1980. Yes, you've got Argento with much higher budgets, but you've got this guy that had done genre work here and there as a cinematographer, as a director, who had decided to make a few horror films. I watched the trailer today, and I sent you a link. I mean, I knew you'd seen the trailer and had the trailer, blah, blah, blah. But it was so important to me to send it to you, to have you watch it, because I wanted to see if you felt the same way that I did. The trailer has got the crazy synth music, which is bizarre on its own. And if you watch it, to me, it reminds me almost of a Turkish film, because they take the scenes, and honestly, it looks very cheap. Really, it's hard to explain what I saw in the trailer, which is also, of course, in the film. But they cut it all down to a trailer length, and it's just so otherworldly.
Yeah,
they're on this deserted island. All these things are going on. The music, it's just, to me, it's so much more than it's the sum of its parts of the few gore scenes that it's so widely notorious for. I think it's got style to it. And it's just, and again, I know it sounds crazy. You're like, Brad, you're comparing this to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What I'm saying is it's got a vibe to it that I think has never been recreated. There's just this sense of dread and cheapness. But when I say cheapness, that sounds bad, but it's not. It's that they made the most of what they had.
Yeah.
The scenes of them going through the house in the dark, the lightning flash, there he is. The scene in the mansion when she throws the candelabra and the mirror breaks, but it leaves that one piece that she's perfectly framed in the basement where the blind girl bursts out.
Mm-hmm.
All of these scenes are very, very effective, and you end in the daylight. When he falls in the well, then she falls in the well, then they get out of the well. It's all in the daylight. And it's still, even as it ends, you're just left with this almost empty feeling. Not empty because the experience was empty, but because you've been drained.
Yeah.
It's just so much atmosphere. And I know we're going to cover Absurd, which basically I think was just made because George Eastman was so ugly in this film. I think that he didn't want to be known, as this horribly ugly guy, because he's not really.
Yeah.
But no, this film, it's just so, from the scenes of Carol dropping the tarot cards in the ocean. I always preface Elizabeth with things if I think that they're pertinent. Now, I don't want to spoil things that I know about things to her, obviously. But, I told her, I'm like, this has not got a great reputation, but Richard likes it. So I want to give this a go. It happened to be our wedding anniversary, which I think probably speaks to who Elizabeth and I are as people. So we were both blown away. Is this a Mario Bava film? No, it's not. Is this a Dario Argento film? No, it's not. It's a Joe D'Amato. And I've said before, the Beyond the Darkness and this one and Absurd are like cousins to Fulci's same period films.
Oh, totally.
They don't have the same vibe quite, but they're both working in the industry. Obviously Fulci, a lot more style. There's more money involved, obviously. But it's a similar vibe to me. Although I will say that even in Absurd, there's not the same vibe as this at all. I think this is it's just a one-off perfect meshing of things. If you're out there and you've not seen this, because of some of the reasons that I hadn't seen it, I highly recommend that you check it out. Because, there's the fetus eating. Yeah, he eats the guts there at the end, but it's so much more than that.
Mm-hmm. And very well put, sir, by the way.
Thank you.
I seriously, this has jumped. I mean, I've always loved this movie since the first time I saw it, but this is now in my top 5 favorite Italian horror films of all time. Where it falls in those 5, I haven't worked out yet, but this is I was like a kid in a candy store watching this movie for this episode. Oh my God, I love this movie so much now.
It's very good.
Oh, I can't even... people who talk shit about this movie, you talk shit about this movie to my face, I will eat my own guts in front of you, and you'll have to live with that. So, keep your opinions to yourself. Great atmosphere. Joe D'Amato. Let's look at his horror things that we've seen that we love. Death Smiles at Murder, this movie, Beyond the Darkness, and Absurd. Those are his best horror films. He's had some other ones, some minor ones. Emmanuel's Revenge has a little horror tinge to it. And he did the Frankenstein 2000, which I'm terrified to watch.
Killing birds.
And of course, good old Porno Holocaust. This is unrelenting horror. This is just shock after shock with weird dread moments in between. The surprises are really effective. The camera work, because of course, Joe D'Amato filmed this himself. He was a director and cinematographer. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it shaked out. He liked to do that. Oh no, look at that. He did not do cinematography this time. Surprisingly.
Nice.
It was shot by Enrico Biribiki. I might be mispronouncing that, but a great cameraman. Definitely a great cameraman. But this has fisheye lens and strange angles and super sharp cinematography. It's a very dynamic film with its locations. You've got the best that this Greek town has to offer, this really weird, like you're saying, otherworldly vibe to it. Then they go back to Italy to film the interiors, and it's just, kind of drab, kind of plain in some of it. But then, that's that house. Then they go to the mansion, and the mansion is gorgeous and captured very ominously. And then you have the castles. They filmed in a bunch of castles, too, and around the grounds and all these, like, catacombs. And it's like, the movie has so much to look at. And if you're really into Italian horror, and you like that vibe that we've been talking about for, hundreds of hours of this show, then you're going to dig this. You're going to love this.
Absolutely.
It delivers on every single point that you want from Italian horror. I want to watch this forever. Like, if I could put this movie on a loop and watch it forever, I would. If I could step inside this movie, I would. If I could have sex with Rita, I would. But only if she's covered in the blood wine. That was so hot.
Right.
Little turned on by it, just saying. No, I'm not weird. One little thing I noticed. Did you notice the name of the boat that they take to the island? Did you catch this?
I don't think I did.
I never noticed this kind of stuff ever, so it was really important to me when I finally did see. It was SAUDADE, so we looked it up on Google, the ultimate search engine who pays for this show. The show that's free.
Right.
It's Ciudad, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's a feeling of longing, melancholy, or nostalgia that is supposedly characteristic of the Portuguese or Brazilian temperament.
Wow.
What? I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sharp eye.
Hey. So, I've got a few things to read to you folks. I've been referring to this frickin' book so much lately in our Italian episodes. Spaghetti Nightmares, the wonderful and also kind of shitty book by Luca M. Palmerini and Gaetano Mistretta. These fucking guys don't like anything, and
nothing.
What they don't like, they also spoil. So there you go.
Yeah, they spoiled Eye of the Labyrinth.
The
Eye of the Labyrinth for me.
Stay away from the
Dickheads.
Giallo reviews, big time.
Ugh.
Okay, from the director's own words, this is Joe D'Amato, a.k.a. Aristide Masakesi, probably butchering that one. So he's asked by the interviewer, why did you take up with the gore trend? Because at the time, and I'm still convinced of this today, I felt instinctively that gore and softcore are two timeless genres, which are guaranteed to have a public. I wouldn't even describe them as trends, but rather mainstays in the history of the cinema. I personally opted for the most unrestrained gore, since I don't consider myself very skillful at creating suspense, or at any rate, the film in which I attempted to build up a suspenseful atmosphere, Anthropophagus, remains my least successful horror film. And I take that to mean successful financially and successful as a horror movie. So he doesn't think it's very successful, which I find very amusing. He also says further about Anthropophagus, it was perhaps the lowest costing movie of my film career, coming from the guy who shot 100 porno movies. It was made on 16mm film and blown up to 35mm, and it had to be done like that because it was the first to be financed by my film company, Filmirage, which Filmirage made a lot of shit that's great. So he doesn't say too much more about Anthropophagus. I wish he did. But the next interview in the book is Luigi Montefiore, or George Eastman. He says, the interviewer asks George Eastman, Anthropophagus marked her introduction to gore. Can you tell us something about the film and Serena Grandi, and explain your attitude towards this genre? He says, this film was made in much the same way as the others, with very little money, but a lot of laughs. I think it was Serena Grandi's first film experience, so she behaved as any novice would and gave it everything she'd got without ever complaining. As far as gore is concerned, I must say, to be honest, I don't really like it. Even though I enjoy writing and acting in this genre of film, I never go and see a horror film, unless I know it's a very good one. I don't like the violent scenes. The baby lamb made to look like embryos, the pig entrails, and so on. And I believe it's curious and rather worrying that there are people who enjoy this kind of thing. If it were up to me, I would have horror stories which were effective and brutal, if necessary, but without a drop of blood. The interviewer says, the film was a bit of a flop here in Italy. When Anthropophagus was released in Rome, one boiling August day at the Metropolitan Cinema, I went along to see the first showing in the afternoon, and found myself quite alone except for a couple sitting a few rows in front of me. When the fetus scene came on, the woman cried, "How disgusting!" and walked out, followed by her friend. I applauded her statement and saw the rest of the film alone. So that's George Eastman. Sort of like the director and its star and co-writer and co-producer distancing themselves from the thing they created.
It's sad in a way.
It is. It is. They made something really fucking special, dude.
They really did.
Yep. My favorite review of this movie, which I didn't want to pull from the shelf and read because I don't want to give it too much attention, is Jim Harper. He wrote 2 books that I have. He wrote Legacy of Blood, a slasher movie book, and he wrote Italian Horror, a book that basically goes from 1978 up through the 90s and reviews Italian horror. And he just hated this movie. He says it's boring and it's a waste of time and Joe D'Amato's made better films and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, he says don't watch it, essentially. And oddly enough, Jim Harper is one of the reasons why I write about horror movies. Like,
tell us more.
His book is so fucking negative and snooty. And I was so tired of reading negative and snooty reviews online. I just disagreed with everyone so much that I had to start my own frickin' website, and thus Doomed Moviethon was born.
And everything flows from Doomed Moviethon.
It does, man. It truly does. We got the blog, we got the Giallo Meltdown, the book, got the podcast, the Twitter, at Doomed Moviethon, got the Grinder for meeting the gay dudes who like horror movies.
I don't know.
Do you have anything else you want to say about good old Anthropophagus? Other than we will definitely be covering its sequel, Absurd, one of these days, because we love it.
Yeah, no, I think we've done it.
Cool. Well, folks, we're not done yet. We are still going to go. I'm going to play the official George Eastman tribute theme music right now, which is music from Rabid Dogs, directed by Mario Bava. There's that music playing. Are you dancing right now?
Mm-hmm.
I am doing the Harlem Shake, and I'm doing the Funky Chicken, because those are my dances. So anyway, George Eastman's like, stop talking about me. You suck.
I doubt it.
He was born Luigi Montefiore on August 16th, 1942 in Genoa, Italy. And like I said before, he is 6'9". He's an ungentle giant. George Eastman, he's an actor, a writer, a director, and a producer. He has done it all, man.
All of it.
On good old IMDb, he has 62 writing credits. 62 acting credits, as well as 44 writing credits. It's like,
wow, busy guy.
He's in a bunch of spaghetti westerns, of course. Where else would he be? I've seen one of his spaghetti westerns. I really liked it, but I can't. It was one of the Django ripoff movies, but I can't remember which one it was. Or maybe it was Last Killer. I forget. He played the Minotaur in Fellini's Satyricon, which is insane. He was the only one tall enough for the costume.
I had no idea.
I'm using the IMDb. I asked people that listen to the show and the people who are involved in this show what their favorite George Eastman movies are. I said to come up with 3 or 5 of your favorite George Eastman movies. Brad, did you get a chance to come up with your favorite George Eastmans?
I did. pretty boring.
I doubt it. But
number 3 would be 2019 After the Fall of New York by Sergio Martino.
Sweet. I still haven't seen
it. It is my favorite of the Italian post-apocalyptic films. It is so much fun.
Nice.
He plays Big Ape. It's a lot of fun. Number 2 would be Absurd.
Nice.
Which is the pseudo-sequel, not at all. Nothing at all to do with Anthropophagus. It is basically, like I said earlier in the show, I think that I'd read that George Eastman did not enjoy the film, but he loved making Anthropophagus. Mm. And I suspect that he was so ugly in it, he's like, why can't we make me handsome?
Please. So
they did. And after that, he said, why can't we just remake Halloween? So they did. So that's Absurd. I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. It's a good film. I really like it. I'm excited to talk about it when we get to it. And then my number 1 is, of course, Anthropophagus, which for the many, many reasons that we stated earlier, atmosphere, baby eating.
I love it.
I mean, it's pretty vanilla. I could have gone a lot of different ways, which I won't mention other films vanilla. Because that was like. But yes, what are your top 3?
You were like chocolate chip. You weren't vanilla.
Thank you.
I picked 5. I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen enough of his frickin' movies, but I've definitely seen 5. My 5th one is Emmanuel's Revenge. He's really good in that. Really. A complete scumbag. Oh my God, it's terrible. So terrible. Number 4 is Delirium, Photos of Gioia.
Very nice.
Just because he's so fun in that movie and refreshing. He's not even the star. He's just a cameo, but he has a love scene with Serena Grandi that you have to see to believe. Like, her breasts are as big as he is tall, and they're in the bath together, and the cuckoo clock is striking awkward sex. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Rabid Dogs. He is really fucking evil in that. Oh man, so evil. It's a tough.
Still haven't seen Rabid Dogs.
Oh, it's good, man. He's really unsettling and just a claustrophobic movie, and he makes the most of his screen time. Like, you could tell he was hungry, dude. Like, not physically hungry, but like actorly hungry.
Does he eat a baby fetus in it? He's that hungry?
He eats like 6 of them in the car.
Nice.
On bread. Number 2 is good old Absurd, a.k.a. Rosso Sangue, as we love so much. He's very imposing in that. That was one of my introduction to Italian horror films I saw as a kid. I saw that so young. I can't. Yeah, me too, dude. I want to talk about that very soon. And number 1, of course, Anthropophagus. He steals the movie, man. Every time that horrifying makeup and his height played up to its fullest potential. I mean, I know he's 6'9", but he looks like 8'10" in that fucking movie. He's crazy.
Especially when everybody else is 4'1".
Whew. Brad very kindly put the question out to the people who are wonderful, who like our show on the Facebook page. And first we got Jeffrey, co-host of the show. He says his favorites are Anthropophagus, Blast Fighter, which I've never seen Blast Fighter.
I've seen Blast Fighter. It is amazing. I forgot he was in that. I love the shit out of Blast Fighter.
Oh shit, I need to see it, man.
It's good.
He loves Rabid Dogs, Absurd, and Baba Yaga, which he has a role in as well. I need to read.
Yes.
I haven't seen that in forever, dude.
I've seen that twice now.
I have not seen that in a long time. You know what made me dislike that movie? The deleted scenes. Did you catch any of those? Seen the deleted scenes. Don't watch them. They're hippie garbage. It's terrible. Ugh. But I do like that movie. And I need to revisit it. Okay. And as a runner-up to his top 5 there, Warriors of the Wasteland.
Wow. Jeffrey pulling out the deep cuts.
So we got Simon, who is basically the heart and soul and feet of Hello, This is the Doom Show, British edition.
Author of The Disco Ball Killer.
Oh, shit. That's right.
It's the way I introduce him anymore.
He says, I think I've only seen 3, which I'd rank like this. Number 3, Delirium, Photos of Gioia. Number 2, Anthropophagus. And first place, Absurd, a.k.a. Rosso Sangue, a.k.a. Anthropophagus 2, a.k.a. Monster Hunter, a.k.a. Horrible, and The Grim Reaper 2. He says, holy crap, one could do a top 5 list of their favorite titles for that movie. If they were bored to the point of insanity, that is. I mean, I love making lists, but not that much. I'm going to add a British filter to that. So it sounds like I'm British when I read it.
You should.
Did they make
Is that a thing? Did they do that?
No. You know what I was about to say?
Dang it.
I was about to go.
What?
I was about to go. Brad, did they make that? Freddie Ferox, a total horror movie badass and friend of the show, gave us his top 5 with some honorable mentions. His number 1 is Rabid Dogs. His number 2 is Anthropophagus. His number 3 is The New Barbarians. Number 4 is Absurd. And number 5, one I have never heard of, Knell, the Bloody Avenger.
Interesting.
Knell. I have no idea what that one is. I'm going to look that up real quick. You're making us work, Freddie.
I'm telling you.
Ooh. Sangue di Sbirro, 1976. Oh, it's a crime film. Interesting.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Nice.
Directed by Alfonso Brescia, starring George Eastman, Jack Palance, Ugo Bologna's in it. Those are the people I recognize.
See. Alfredo Brescia?
Yeah.
What did he direct? Other than that?
He did The Amazing War of the Robots. Or War of the Planets, or both. I think they're 2 different movies. But he did something else.
Yeah, War of the Robots. Antonio Sabato's Finest Hour.
Probably. Let me sort by genre with him, because I know I just brought him up on a different episode. And Naked Girl Killed in the Park?
Ooh, hey, that's special.
I think he directed and wrote that. That's Robert Hoffman.
That was in the first batch of movies you sent me.
Yeah, man, it's fucking good. I did just find another giallo by him called Il tuo dolce corpo da uccidere, or Uccidera. That one I just found. It looks really fun too. But let me refresh this. I'm so glad. I love editing these parts. Let me look at his other genre things, because there's something I feel like did 10 crime films. No, I'm going down an Italian wormhole of fucking confusion here. We're definitely somewhat familiar with him. I definitely know that he made a thingy with his face.
He did some stuff.
Anyway, so yeah, a crime film. I'm very excited to see that. I like the thought of George Eastman slinging some frickin' bullets around.
No doubt.
Freddie goes on to say, George Eastman, also memorable parts in Hands of Steel, which I have seen. I did not stay awake through the whole thing, but I think that's because I was tired. Apparently it's bonkers movie.
It is bonkers.
2019, After the Fall of New York, and Manuel's Revenge and Iron Master.
Nice.
We have one more celebrity, dude. You ready for this? Do you know who fucking commented? Death Rattle Aaron.
Oh.
Yes.
Love that guy.
He has been co-hosting this show since he was on it once. Like,
he was one of the first
a couple years ago
co-hosts.
Yes.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, man.
He did Baby Blood? Baby Blood, wasn't it?
Definitely. It was, we held hands and watched it together. It was beautiful. Except he's far away, so we just watched it and talked about it on Skype.
I often wish that Aaron lived in America.
Oh my god. Not in the continental United States, Aaron. Fix it. Come back to us.
I'd love to hang out with Aaron.
I just want him on the show again, dude.
Man, I do too.
Every few months, I'm like, hey, you want to be on the show again? Hey. Anyway.
Aaron turned me on to Pretty Little Liars.
Dude, I am trying to get Lietta excited about it, so we're gonna dip into that eventually.
Teen slasher trash.
Bam.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Hey, no problem. Aaron says that he loves Rabid Dogs, Hands of Steel, and Baba Yaga, though he says it's not a George Eastman film per se, but he's in it, so yeah. And then he burped at the end of his sentence, but it was typed up. It was a typed burp.
Right. Death Rattle Aaron.
So I would know it was him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, he didn't burp on our show. That's amazing. He held that shit in.
He's a great co-host.
Man. I'm going to get a letter from him like, Dear Sir, I'm suing you for defamation of my character. You suck.
Nah.
And I live in America, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, what are you? I'm so sorry to hear you failed the second grade, Brad.
Oh my God. Is this internet bullying? Is that what we're doing? Because I don't mean to.
Not at all. I love Aaron.
We do. Folks, thanks so much for listening. I had a blast with this one.
Loved it.
Anthropophagus.
Anthropophagus.
Sometimes they take the H out, and it's anthropo.
And sometimes they put an A in it. Phagus.
So confusing.
Did we ever say what Anthropophagus means?
Doesn't it just mean a cannibal?
That's all it means.
Oh.
That's all it means, Richard.
Why should I look
Flesh
that up?
eater.
There was something else. Oh. Have you seen...
No, I have not, but I've got it.
Anthropophagus.
I know what you're going to say.
2000?
2000. No, sir.
Was that Andreas Schnass, the German dude?
It was indeed. Mm-hmm.
Because I believe, I make fun of this movie. I've only seen like little parts of it. It was a love letter to Joe D'Amato by Andreas Schnass. But it is ridiculous backyard, shot on VHS, gore, hilarity.
It's got something to do with Interpol, the crime agency, not the band.
No, I think it's the band.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, they're like, turn on the bright lights, motherfuckers. Like,
no, I grabbed it one time thinking that I'd watch it, and then I thought better.
A group of friends stumble onto the killing grounds of a cannibalistic loner named Brad, who then mercilessly stalks down the party one by one. When only a small group remains, they must decide to take a stand against the murderer named Brad and fight for their lives against Brad. You did?
I was listening to Interpol
You were
while killing.
You were in Germany?
No, wasn't me.
I'm not... I tried watching The Burning Moon, and that's about as far as I got into the German backyard splatter movies.
Yeah, the only real gore epic I reviewed, Necromantic.
Yeah.
For Scott for EuroCultAV.com. And, I was oddly affected by it.
Yeah. Well, it was shot on film, so it had that going for it.
Well,
it wasn't
there you
videotape yet.
I doubt that's one we'll be covering on the old Hello, This is the Doom Show.
No. Sorry, everybody.
It would be very exhausting.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the first one that I reviewed for Scott. Yeah. I didn't really know him. We were talking. I admired his Legend of Hell House review. Of course, I knew him through you. That's how I knew of him anyway. And then his Pumpkinhead, the Scream Factory Blu-ray review, I commented on Facebook, and then we were talking, blah, 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 and he was very kind and gracious enough to offer me Necromantic. And I didn't know how our friendship was going to go from there, but it went well.
Awesome. We had Scott on the show. Hello.
This is the Doom Show with Scott from EuroCultAV.com.
Boom. Name dropping that shit.
I'm telling you.
Folks, we're out of here.
See you later.
Bye. Ramble, 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 ramble.
If you would like to contact Hello, This is the Doomed Show, please email us at doomedmoviethong@gmail.com or check us out at facebook.com/Hello Doomed Show. We are also on Twitter. Sorry about that. @DoomedMovieThong. Hashtag Hello Doomed Show. For the old ass episodes that you missed, find our archived episodes at doomedmoviethon.com. Don't forget to eat fruit and veggies.
Hello everyone, I am Rod Barnett.
I'm Troy Gwynn.
And we are your hosts for NashyCast, the podcast about the films of Paul Naschy. We, for over 5 years, have brought you the joys of Spanish cinema, filtered through our brains to you.
Yes, now, what is it that qualifies two Southern boys to talk about films that came out of Spain? And I can't think of a single thing.
There's nothing that qualifies.
Nothing. Except that we just love them.
We love them. NashyCast covers the films of Paul Naschy and any other Spanish horror film that we can pretend we know something about.
Yes. If you love beautiful women wearing incredibly short miniskirts in subarctic temperatures, chased by werewolves in leisure suits.
If you love werewolves, vampires, unidentifiable beasts, or crazy people driving women around and talking like a maniac to them.
Yes, flying cats, beheadings with axes.
Blood that looks like melted crayons.
Shambling zombies, yeah.
Some of the films that we've covered in the past are Mark of the Werewolf,
Howl of the Devil,
Vengeance of the Zombies,
Horror Rises from the Tomb,
Tombs of the Blind Dead,
Vampire's Night Orgy.
Ooh, yes. Join us on this journey through the golden age of Spanish horror where Paul Naschy, Leon Klimovsky, Jess Franco, Amando D'Osorio take us through a filter Espanol.
Join us for the NashyCast.